right. Look, we would be in a good mood because everybody's back for our first political conference after the August recess here at the NRCC. And our members are spread out, fanned out around the country, selling the merits of what we've done, sharing with people, educating the public about all the extraordinary things that we've got in our legislation, the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. We could call it a lot of things. We could call it the American Energy Dominance Bill, the Secure Our Borders Permanently Bill, on and on. But it's so well received. And you all have seen the polling. Every individual provision is wildly popular. The people know, and they're beginning to experience and feel what we've done for them, and we're excited about that. But our spirits are dampened a little bit this morning because of all the discussion about the crime, and it's not something that we can overlook. It's not something we should overlook. Whip Emmer specifically was talking about this just unspeakable tragedy. This 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee was brutally murdered in cold blood on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her name is Irina Zarutska, and she was on the way home from her job at a pizzeria where she worked. She was stabbed repeatedly by a career criminal with a rap sheet a mile long. It's infuriating. It's heartbreaking. It gives you a feeling in the pit of your stomach. This young lady, Irina, survived Ukraine. She fled amid the deadliest land war in Europe since World War II. She fled to the safety, or so she thought, of the United States, just to have her life senselessly ended by someone who should have never been allowed to walk freely. This individual, DeCarlos Brown is his name, was arrested and released 14 times. Yeah, more than a dozen, 14 times. We don't have to live like this. President Trump is proving that every single day in our nation's capital. And the leader Scalise, was talking about that. Since cracking down on violent crime in the district, roughly 1,700 arrests have been made. Now, you may say that's a small portion of the population. It's just a small fraction, in fact. But somehow the city feels and is much safer. Everybody needs to think about why that is. The Trump administration and local law enforcement know that it's always in every city relatively a select few individuals who are committing most of the crimes. And that's been true in D.C. as well. They're enabled by these soft on crime policies that were discussed here, and even softer prosecutors and prosecutions. And criminals have relentlessly abused the public and the public spaces. We just want to say this loud and clear, and we're demonstrating it. This is not just talk, this is action. Republicans are in charge, and when Republicans are in charge, those days are over. The days of allowing soft on crime, we're not going to do it. Now, here's what is stunning to me. If you only read the New York Times, the Washington Post, or most of the other mainstream outlets, you don't know anything about Irina's heartbreaking story. For some reason, many national news outlets have refused to cover it. It's social media that has amplified the story and made everyone pay attention to it. And Axios shamelessly reported that this was, quote, fuel for the MAGA messaging battle, as if it's some sort of contrived problem. Watch the video for yourself. It's a tragedy. It's a completely avoidable tragedy that deserves the nation's attention. For now, all we can do is pray for the family, the Zarutska family, and continue our calls for the swift application of justice. Let's talk about some issues of the week. The NDAA, the House is going to take up and pass the FY26 National Defense Authorization Act. I want to thank Chairman Mike Rogers and all the House Armed Services Committee for their diligent work on the legislation. We are providing for the common defense, and as we know, that's one of our most basic governing duties here in Congress, and on this side of the aisle, we take it very seriously. The sad fact is that 4 years under President Biden left our military's readiness in a very troubled state. Thankfully, President Trump has reinstituted the doctrine of peace through strength, and that will maintain America's dominance in a very dangerous world. This year's NDAA lays out policies to defend our nation. It supports our brave service members, and it safeguards the country from threats abroad. It also codifies a number of President Trump's executive orders related to national defense. There's 17 of them in the bill. Here's a couple of examples. It codifies executive orders to end radical and wasteful government DEI programs, reinvigorate the nuclear industrial base, unleash American drone dominance, secure American borders, end CRT in our military schools, and reform the federal hiring process and restore merit to government service, among many others. The safety and security of the American people, our homeland, and our troops abroad is our utmost priority, and this must-pass legislation delivers on every front. Speaking of foreign affairs, bless you, it's more important than ever that America maintains a posture of strength because others in the West are flirting with surrender. This week, international leaders will convene at the UN General Assembly in New York, and we'll be watching if close allies like France and Canada and the UK move ahead with plans to recognize a Palestinian state. It's equally baffling as it is deeply troubling to have this idea that you would reward Hamas with statehood before they've returned every hostage. What message does that send to would-be terrorists and tyrants around the world? If you rape and murder and abduct innocent civilians and then cause enough suffering among your own people, then the free world will somehow reward you with international legitimacy. We can't do that. And I can tell you that President Trump and Republicans in Congress have been very clear that rewarding the carnage that took place on October 7th is a non-starter. It's unacceptable. With regard to government funding, very quickly, and then we'll take questions, House Republicans continue to work through regular order to fund the government for FY26, for the next fiscal year. We're working closely with the White House and the Senate to ensure we meet our deadlines, and Chairman Cole, Tom Cole of the Appropriators, continues to diligently work towards getting all 12 bills out of committee, and they're almost done with that. And as we get closer to the funding deadline, though, we recognize the shutdown chatter from the left is growing louder. Some of these people seem to enjoy this. It seems Democrats may take the path of maximum resistance and try to shut the government down. This is not surprising because they're struggling, because they don't really have a message or a leader, or their party registration is falling, their approval ratings are in the low 20s, and they're about to elect a Marxist to be the mayor of New York City. They are desperately searching for a solution, and some in the party apparently think a government shutdown would be some sort of political advantage to them. It'd be what we all know is dangerous and harmful to millions of Americans, and that is not the answer. So I'm going to say this again, and I'm saying it in good faith. I've shared this with the Democrat leader in the House and other colleagues. If Democrats are willing to work with us, we have our sleeves rolled up, and we want to do this in good faith. We just have to think responsibly how to spend less money than we did last year. And if they're willing to do that, and it's incumbent upon all of us to do it with the high national debt, we're open to that. But the ultimate question of whether there's going to be a government shutdown at the end of the month is going to be up to congressional Democrats, and that's just the way it is.